Well, the only other thing I can think of right now, if we want to do a show tonight, is to have me host it.
We're good.
You're
Go
live. You're live right now.
We are?
Yes. Yes, we are. You gonna talk or what?
Well, the only thing I can think of right now, if we want to do a show tonight, is to have it.
We're good. You're live.
It's up on my end, Johnny.
We're good. Go
Yes.
ahead. Yes.
God fucking damn it!
How you doing today, everybody? It's been one fuck of a day. We thought we had things figured out. Apparently we don't, but that's okay. How's everybody doing today? Johnny, you okay, or do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Okay, so just waiting on you. We're going to talk about Starcade 85. Don't look! If you haven't seen it, don't look. If you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody on this call should know what I'm talking about with the don't look.
Yeah.
Ronnie, do you know what I'm talking about?
I have no clue.
Okay, so if you look at the beginning of the show when Tony Schiavone and the other guy introduced Johnny Weaver at the other arena, did you notice his eyes going back and forth to the fucking... You gotta pay attention to what I'm talking about. He's looking... He's going like this. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. He's like reading off a teleprompter.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, what the fuck? Is that guy reading or something?
He is. He was reading off a teleprompter because he was... I think Vince McMahon was running what he was doing. So if you go back and watch it, go back and watch him. He's sitting there going like this. So throughout the show, I'm going to be going, don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Just saying. So yes, that was the Easter egg.
So, I can actually introduce everybody now?
Oh, yeah, there is. Where's it at? Did you put it on here?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to show you the picture real quick, and here it is. If you can look at him now, he's looking at the teleprompter. So they caught him looking at the teleprompter, and then while he was talking.
Okay, Lord. Oh.
I don't know why it's running so.
Okay. Well, we have Bobbit with us tonight. What's up?
Hi.
And also we have the Miss Ronnie. How are you?
Fine. How is everyone tonight?
And lastly, so let's get into Starcade. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. And we also have Trackopedia.
Hey guys.
So yeah, interesting thing about Starcade 85. It was done at 2 arenas.
Yes, it was. Greensboro and Charlotte. Or Greensboro and Atlanta, the old Omni. That is true.
And so they did probably better than anybody else has done in the past. They had one match, and then they would swap back and forth every match. And pretty neat stuff. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I tried to watch it and I fell asleep.
It is one of those shows, I've seen it like 10 times. It is one of those shows where Ronnie probably was intrigued to watch it because she probably grew up watching that kind of stuff. The kind of wrestling that Starcade 85 was old school wrestling. It isn't the ballet style fucking wrestling the WWE gives us today. The storyline, there really wasn't any storylines in the matches, except for the main event, which was Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair. It was an ongoing 3-year story between them two. 85, 86, No, 84, 85, and 86, I think, was the three that they had. But really, there was no storylines. These guys were actually able to if you can get into watching wrestling and seeing the story that they're telling, like the first match, Sam Houston versus Crusher Khrushchev. The story tells itself. Sam Houston is an up-and-comer. He's a young kid. And Crusher Khrushchev is from the communist Soviet Union that dominated the scene. And that was for the Mid-Atlantic title, I think it was. Heavyweight title, is that right? You got the thing right in front of you, right, Johnny?
Yeah, it was a Mid-Atlantic. It was a vacant title, it said.
Yep, it was vacant at the time. And Sam Houston was, he looked like he was 21 years old in that match. Khrushchev, if you don't know who Crusher Khrushchev is, he was part of Demolition.
Right.
I can't remember if he was Axe or Smash. I can't remember. He might have been.
Axe.
Okay, he was Axe.
I think.
So he was one of the guys in that group, the Demolition. He was along with Nikita and Ivan Koloff. He was actually from Canada, if I remember correctly, and he converted to Russian, to the beliefs of the Russians. He became a citizen of Russia or whatever. He essentially a sympathizer. He's like Lee Harvey Oswald. He became a citizen of Trek. Don't drink on fucking screen.
All right.
No, you just look like a dumbass when you do it. Anyway. So you've seen those matches, correct? Trek?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think of the first match?
I thought it was good. Crusher Khrushchev got some really good heel heat for back in the day, and they really plugged the heck out that he was a Russian sympathizer, like you guys said. I thought they did a good job with it for an opening match.
Right.
I don't know either.
Whatever. I'm not even gonna worry about it. Just keep going. Ronnie, what did you think of the match?
I agree with you in the beginning. I mean, it was the old school style. They came out. There wasn't a lot of entrance music. I think one of them was already in the ring.
I think it was all the same entrance music. The only two that were different were the main event. Dusty and Ric Flair. So it wasn't about the glitz and pop back then. Yes, I understand that's what it is now, but it kind of makes the wrestlers have to be able to tell a fucking story besides their entrance, because it wasn't about the entrances back then. I know, Bob, what did you think of it? The first match? Because them two were in the ring right after the national anthem, and that's another thing. They actually did the national anthem before the matches started. Not America the Beautiful. What did you think of the match, Bob?
Thought it was okay. A little boring, but it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different style of wrestling, and this is old WCW. Before it was even called WCW, I think it was NWA.
Yep.
So, which later on became WCW. I know
but
Johnny
it also told that USA versus Russia storyline too, because you had the young Sam Houston from the USA, and then you had Crusher Khrushchev from the USSR.
Yep.
So they were telling that story, because you could hear that every once in a while in the crowd where they were chanting the USA.
Yep. And Russia, the match, and it was a good match. It was back and forth. Sam Houston was athletic. He was the more athletic of the two, the high leaper, the high jumper, whatever you want to call it. Not really. He wasn't a lucha libre by any means. He wasn't jumping off the top rope or anything like that. But for Crusher Khrushchev, he was pretty athletic. The match went back and forth for a little bit. And then Sam Houston, I don't know what his finisher was, but he hit something, and then
The running bulldog.
the running bulldog hit the running bulldog, and then he went for the cover. Khrushchev, and I don't know, I didn't catch if the ref hit 3, and then the ref looked up and seen his foot on the rope, or if
It was 2. He
It was
counted
2?
and
Okay.
he saw the foot.
he got a 2 and then saw the foot, and then he's like, nope, that don't count. Sam Houston thought he won. Crusher Khrushchev hit the clothesline, went to cover him, and 1, 2, 3. His foot was on, Sam Houston's foot was on the rope before 3. The ref did not see it, and that is how the match ended. It really wasn't a heel finish, so to speak, like the heel finishes that you see a lot of times today, if that makes sense. So I enjoyed the match. It was a back and forth match. They were able to tell a story inside of the ring. In my opinion, I thought it was one of the better matches of the night. Until we got to the world tag team titles. That was a hell of a match. But we'll get into that. That's towards the end of the show. Now, the second match, I think, was in Greensboro. Correct, Johnny?
Let's see. The second match was from the Omni Stadium.
Okay, that was in Atlanta. Okay.
It was the Mexican Death Match with Manny Fernandez and Abdullah the Butcher.
If you all don't know who Abdullah the Butcher is, this is where the blood began. It's like there was 25 blood matches in this thing. Abdullah the Butcher, if you were paying attention to when he first came out, he had fake skin on his forehead, and you can see the red spot on his forehead. I don't know if you guys can notice that. He had that new skin or whatever it is over the top of his head. Manny Fernandez, it's not Hercules, it's just Manny Fernandez. I really don't know anything about him. This match, who was the manager for him? Was it Paul Jones?
Paul Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his moments. He's an interesting guy. He's an interesting character. Wasn't one of the greatest managers, but he had a lot of muscle-bound guys, big guys. Abdullah the Butcher, if you know Abdullah the Butcher, he is
Almost 500 pounds.
He's almost 500 pounds, and he was the WWE's version of Yokozuna. If you know who Abdullah the Butcher is. Abdullah
He
the
also
Butcher
wore those elf shoes that you'll see the New Day wear.
Well, he was built from Sudan. So he was one of those that was Muslim type character thingy. He was a heel throughout his whole career. Match went back and forth. The thing about this match, and if you look at the match, if that match was to happen today, everybody would be in an uproar.
Mm-hmm.
Because the winner of the match, there was a sombrero. It was a sombrero on a pole match.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah, I mean, it was a good. There was fighting. That match didn't really revolve around the sombrero. It revolved around Manny Fernandez and his legacy. So it didn't revolve around the sombrero, but it was a sombrero on a pole match, is what it was. And the winner of the match would be whoever got to the sombrero. Well, Manny Fernandez ended up getting the sombrero. There was a lot of blood in this match. Tons of blood.
Both parties.
Both Manny Fernandez was full covered. If you remember Stone Cold Steve Austin being covered in blood at the end of WrestleMania 13, that's what that looked like.
Right.
And Abdullah the Butcher, if you know Abdullah the Butcher, he had
breathed in his direction and he bled.
If you said bleed, he bled. Essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, they both had the crimson mask.
Yep. Manny Fernandez got the sombrero, ended the match. Paul Jones, he interfered in another.
He tried to, but the ref stopped him.
The ref stopped him. Yeah. The whole night, the story being told is Paul Jones tried to interfering in every single match, and it cost his guys. So
Game's only been on for 10 minutes there, Bobby. Calm down.
Right. So what did you guys think of the match?
I mean, for me, it was a gimmick type match. There was, like you said, a lot of blood that you would not see with today's wrestling events, and then also with the gimmick that they had, because they actually called it the Mexican Death Match.
Yep, it was a Mexican Death Match.
So the interference with the manager, it's the typical outside interference when he would try to come in and they would stop it, and the back and forth, like you said. But the use of the foreign objects, which was a big thing with Abdullah the Butcher,
yep.
He always used that one that he would dig into the scalps and the foreheads, and that was used right off the bat, pretty much.
If I remember correctly, it was just a plastic knife.
Yeah.
But there's one spot in the match that makes me laugh all the fucking time, and it's the spot where Manny Fernandez gets up to the top of the freaking, goes to grab the sombrero. Abdullah the Butcher grabs this object, which looks like a white plastic knife, and he takes and he jams it right up Manny Fernandez's ass. Manny Fernandez falls off, and he got him right in the taint. And if you don't know what the taint is, it taints your balls and it taints your asshole, so it's your taint. So he hits him right in the taint, and he falls off the ring, and he's fucking writhing around in fucking pain. I looked at Heather, and I'm like, he fucking did nothing but poke him with the fucking plastic knife. But whatever. It was funny. What did you think of the match, Trek?
It was pretty good. It was kind of weird for me because I had never seen, back in the day, didn't see guys bleed like that a whole lot, because I used to watch WWF back in the day. Watching this now, it's not a bad match, it's decent, it's just, I haven't seen Abdullah a lot, and like you said, when you said bleed, he gushed.
Yeah, but if you look at his forehead, he's got razor. He's the one that always bladed. He always bladed. That's what he was known for. Don't look. But
there's another one.
Oh yeah.
And Steelers answered with their own touchdown, Bobbitt.
Johnny Weaver had God damn it, Bobbitt. Look at me. Oh fuck. If you're gonna be a whiny little bitch, get off camera. Anyway. I'm trying to do a show here. God damn it. What did you think of the match?
If the Packers was playing, you'd be doing the same thing.
I would probably no, because I probably wouldn't be doing a show. So anyway, well, not a wrestling show. So can you answer my question? What did you think of the match?
It was alright.
Okay, so what about the match? What about the match did you like? What about the match did you not like?
I'm just not into that style of wrestling.
Well, it wasn't it? What style?
Like the way that they used to wrestle back then, I thought it was boring.
Why?
Because I'm used to the way that wrestling is now.
So you don't like what wrestling really is a struggle between two people? Because that's what that was. That's what
wrestling was boring.
And for people, and this is why I wanted to do this pay-per-view, so I could get people to understand. WWF does nothing but ballet. It's choreographed garbage. And that's why WWE sucks today. Because it's all choreographed garbage. Now, some of them guys can wrestle. I'm not sitting here saying they can't. Get that through your heads now. A lot of the matches that happen that last 5 minutes, they're all spots. Every single thing that happens leads to another fucking spot. If you go back and look at the fucking 1 hour match between, what's his name? The Iron Man match we talked about last week. Shawn Michaels and fucking Bret Hart. That match did not go from spot to spot. That was an actual struggle between two wrestlers. That was, you can't really choreograph a match for a whole fucking hour. If you think Vince can, that match would have been fucking dead before it fucking started. That's why a lot of matches in WWE don't last as long as a lot of other matches do. Because Vince McMahon wants it choreographed from spot to spot to spot to spot to spot. That bores the shit out of me. Makes no sense. It doesn't. Wrestling is a struggle between two people. Am I right or am I right or am I wrong?
Right. You're correct. But the other thing you'll notice too with this that you don't see today is every match on this card was either a title match or a gimmick match, or there was something involved in it.
Right. Yep.
I mean, it's not just 6 women wrestling just because they want 6 women on the show.
Right. They put 6 women on the show because they want to get everybody onto the fucking show. That's what they do today. What's the next match, Johnny?
Next match is Ron Bass versus Black Bart.
Now, this was just a fucking all-in-out brawl. And if you didn't like this match, I don't know what kind of fucking wrestling you like.
Yeah, this was actually the Texas Bull Rope.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It was a strap match, wasn't it? I thought it was a strap match.
Texas Bull Rope. They had a bell on the rope.
It wasn't a rope. It was a strap. Wasn't it?
They kept saying strap within the pay-per-view.
Yeah, in the pay-per-view they kept saying strap. It's fine. I didn't notice it was a rope. Bob, what did you think of this match?
Okay, that match was cool. It was bloody. It was physical. It was good.
What? Well, how come you didn't like the match before it? It was just as bloody. That's what I don't understand. That was just an all-out brawl.
Just we're talking 2 different generations here. I grew up with the whole what wrestling is now. I didn't grow up with the stuff back then. And
Bob, even when you first started watching wrestling, they were still doing that kind of stuff.
I'll be honest. I fell asleep during the second match.
I fall asleep during the matches all the time too, but I finished watching it. But that's the kind of matches I like watching wrestling. Watching. That's what I like. The third match. Yeah, what did you think of the match there, Trey?
I thought it was a pretty cool match. I like how they're just trying to. They really look like they're trying to beat the crap out of each other with not just with their fists. They look like they're trying to beat the crap out of each other with the bull rope too. So it gave it more intensity.
Right.
But this was actually 2 matches too, because if the
I was looking at Heather. Did you mention that the winner, if Ron Bass won this match, he gets a shot at J.J. Dillon? So if Ron Bass won this match, he got 10 minutes alone with J.J. Dillon. No, it's 10. Okay, whatever. 5, 10 fucking minutes. God, why do people...
Because that's what he...
Let it fucking go.
It was Johnny Weaver who fucking said it.
Well, Johnny Weaver fucking... Don't look! Anyway... So, if Ron Bass won that match, because Ron Bass was a heel, he was in his faction for a while. He was in J.J. Dillon's faction and something happened. They told this story while the match was going on. And if that happened, he got 5 minutes alone in the ring with J.J. Dillon. And Ron Bass ends up beating Black Bart after they bloodied each other with the bell. If I remember, that's how it went. That's pretty much all they did. They beat the shit out of each other with the bell. They were cutting each other or blading each other with the bell, and and it went on from there. And it finally gets to the point where Black Bart ends up getting pinned by Ron Bass. Ron Bass gets 5 minutes alone in the ring with J.J. Dillon, which is the very next match. Ron Bass J.J. Dillon's is getting his comeuppance. Mm-hmm. But since J.J. Dillon was the bigger, he's this big manager back then, he ended up going over Ron Bass and winning the match after Black Bart got involved. Mm-hmm. Black Bart hit him with the cowbell, I think. Did he not?
He nailed the pile driver.
Yeah, but didn't Black Bart hit him with the cowbell too?
No, Ron Bass actually hit the ref with the cowbell.
Okay. So, yep, and then J.J. Dillon ends up beating, and J.J. Dillon got bloodied a little in that match. That's why you seen him wearing that blood patch. J.J. Dillon ends up going over Braun Bass. This match, I don't know if I could say if I like this match or not, but what are you going to do? You going to cry over spilt milk? No, can't do it. What's the next match, Johnny?
Next match is... Let's see. We are on Superstar Billy Graham versus the Barbarian.
Another double match. So there's this match started Superstar Billy Graham versus the Barbarian, and if you remember the Barbarian, he was the Barbarian in WWE, and he's part of Bobby Heenan's faction.
I believe so. Yes.
Is that right, Trexter? He's part of Bobby Heenan's faction. Okay. Part of the Heenan family.
Warlord and Barbarian, Powers of Pain.
There you go. Okay. So the first part of this match was an arm wrestling match, and the winner won $10,000. And Paul Jones, again, was the Barbarian's manager, and he's walking around testing the fucking table, which was funny because it's in a fucking wrestling ring, and he's sitting there testing the table, and he's fucking wobbling it around. He walked around, he slammed on the fucking chair to make sure it was sturdy and whatever, and he ends up fucking, they sit down, and Barbarian didn't know how to fucking arm wrestle. Now, if you don't know who the Barbarian is, I think he was Samoan.
I think so.
If I remember right, he's really Samoan, and I think he might have been part of the Fatu family or the Anawai family. I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up, but he didn't know. The story is he had a broken wrist or something like that because he's wearing.
I think his right thumb was broken.
He's wearing a cast. He was wearing a cast. So the Barbarian said, "I'm going to use my left hand." Well, they go back and forth, and Superstar Billy Graham played both sides of the fence. He could play a heel or he could play a face, but at this time he was a face, and I think he was a former arm wrestler, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong in saying that? It sounded like that's what they were saying during the stuff.
That's part of his backstory.
Okay, so he gets into the ring, and they do arm wrestle with their left hand. Eventually, Superstar Billy Graham beats Barbarian at arm wrestling, and then Paul Jones hits Superstar Billy Graham with the cane that he has, if I'm correct, right? Yep. And then he goes on. Superstar Billy Graham then gets up, and I think he punches Paul Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Jones falls out of the ring, and then a Barbarian gets involved. Barbarian starts fighting, and this is actually the match.
The wrestling match.
This is the wrestling match. So Superstar Billy Graham, I think he gets cut open in this match, does he not? Does. Again, another match with blood in it.
He was cut open by the cane hit because it hit him right in the forehead.
Right. So Superstar Billy Graham and Barbarian go back and forth. Again, another decent match because it's a struggle. You can cover up, and this is why I say I like the struggle matches, because you can cover up somebody's weakness by a struggle match. And that's essentially what it was. Anybody knows how to throw a punch. Whether or not they do it right, I don't know. But making it look like a punch is fine. And that's all this match was. Back and forth, a couple of kicks here, a couple of kicks there, outside the ring. I think Paul Jones interfered in the match and ended up disqualifying the Barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, didn't he hit him with the cane or something? Or?
He went to, but Superstar Billy Graham stopped him.
But didn't there's a reason? What did Barbarian did something? I
think he pushed the ref.
Yeah, but didn't he do something to Billy Graham where he dropped him? Because I remember he was grabbing his throat at the end of the match.
I think he was choking him with the cane because after he went to attack Paul Jones with the cane, Barbarian got the cane away from Superstar.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Bob, it is only first quarter. You'll be okay.
No. I just thought of something.
Yes.
Over this season, I haven't been able to watch the first 2 quarters because I've been at work. And we've either won or came close to winning. So I'm going to stop watching this and maybe something happens.
Bob, just continue to watch it.
It's only word if it works.
I picked the Steelers. Just continue to watch it. So anyway.
You're also an asshole.
I know I'm an asshole. I never said I wasn't. Hi, Regina. How's it going?
Hey.
So, essentially, what do you guys think of both of these matches?
Oh my God! Run!
Ronnie, what did you think of it?
I like this match. Billy Graham always reminded me of Jesse Ventura with the tie-dye colors,
To me,
the flamboyant style that he had. But this was, with the arm wrestling match, like you said, it was kind of comical with the table because it wasn't even like an official arm wrestling table. It was just a table that you see at the concession stand where you get your hot dog, ketchup, mustard, fixins. And
it's probably the
then
table
from there
that
going into the grudge match between the two was, like you said, the physicality with it. Just them basically just beating on each other till the end.
I just remembered that her picks in the
Oh. I was going to say that table is probably the table that the wrestlers used as a card table back in the locker room.
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy.
Yeah, it was, but it told the story. I enjoyed it. If you haven't, if you get the chance to watch the whole pay-per-view, Johnny, I recommend you do, because it is really good storytelling, and you might enjoy it. I did. If I enjoyed it, you might enjoy it. Just old style wrestling. I don't know if you like old style wrestling.
I don't mind old style wrestling at all. Realistically, for me, it was just time factor. I literally did not have enough time to sit down and watch it.
No, that's fine. But just sit down and watch it, and then tell me what you thought of it. Give me your thoughts on it. You'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it.
I know he will.
Trexter, what did you think?
I thought it was good. I thought it was just really fast-paced brawl for most of it, and just like
most of these matches were.
Billy Graham. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say most of these matches were brawls.
Yeah. Well, I like the arm wrestling match, and then you knew it was kind of a, I guess you'd call it a fuck finish, I guess, but it was a fun one, It was like a fun match, and then it was just like all bets are off. They started to beat the shit out of each other.
Well, essentially, Paul Jones ended up fucking over one of his own guys again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah. Bobbit? What about you?
It was okay. Nothing for home about, but it's okay.
You didn't like this match either? It was a brawl. You didn't like you liked the match before this, but you didn't like this match. It was essentially the same thing.
What can I say? I'm weird.
Okay. What was the next match, Johnny?
Buddy Landell versus Terry Taylor.
Now.
For the NWA National Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, and essentially this, and here's the thing with the NWA, they had so many titles, because you got to remember the NWA was a bunch of territories, and they had one major champion, which was Ric Flair at the time, and that's how they did this. So they had national heavyweight title, and I don't think it was the U.S. title, but there was a U.S. title was in there too. So they had the NWA national title, and then they had the NWA U.S. heavyweight title, essentially you have the two same titles, and you have two different people fighting over them. It's just a lot of titles within the territory. If that makes sense. This match was really good. Now, Terry Taylor was a really good worker. And if anybody doesn't know who Terry Taylor is, the Red Rooster from the WWF. Mm-hmm. He's also one of the bookers for WCW after he retired from wrestling at WCW. I don't know if he works for WWE anymore. I think he might. As a producer. I'm not sure if he does anymore or not. But he was one of those bookers during the Attitude Era. It was him, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Cornette, Terry Taylor was a booker, and then Terry Taylor ended up going over to WCW during the Monday Night Wars. But this match was really a Buddy Landel, Nature Boy Buddy Landel. This was a really great worked match. If you haven't seen Nature Boy Buddy Landel, he was a poor man's Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good wrestler, but he wasn't as good as Ric Flair. Buddy Landel ended up going over in this one, and this is one of JJ. This was after JJ Dillon got beat up by Ron Bass at the end of the match, and then another finish. Terry Taylor went to do something, and he went to suplex him, and Buddy Landel landed on top of him for the 1, 2, 3. So again, it wasn't a ballet style match. It was more of a struggle between two guys. What did you think of this match, Ronnie?
I liked this one. I used to really like Terry Taylor, even before he came to the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with your, I guess your way of acknowledging Buddy Landel, that he was the poor man's Ric Flair, because he had the same hairstyle, he had that same flamboyant style, the cockiness in the ring.
And he was also called the Nature Boy.
With him, that he always used that manager, J.J. Dillon, in some capacity to win his matches, or get over in the matches at times. And then, of course, in this case, Terry Taylor lost the belt because of it, due to the foot grab off the rope.
Yeah, so he wasn't he going for like a suplex?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like his finisher, which is always, it was like always spot on when he did it off the second and top rope. But yeah, JJ grabbed him like the back of his ankle as he was getting ready to flip him. And of course that caused Landel to land on top of him for the referee to count the 3 count.
Right. Yep. Trexter, what about you, brother?
I thought it was good. It was kind of a slower match, but I did like the finish. I thought it was really cool how Dillon got him. It's like just old school manager heat. I was laughing earlier because I keep remembering where Bruce Pritchard talks about Terry Taylor. He does a rooster crow because he really does not like Terry Taylor. So
Not many people do.
Not many people do. Bobbitt, what about you?
Oh, it's kind of slow or boring.
This guy has no sense of wrestling. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. He's a newer style guy, I guess. He likes that boring choreographed shit. Johnny, like I said, you'll probably like this match. You know who Terry Taylor is.
Yeah.
You might like this match. I don't know if you like Terry Taylor's style of wrestling. A lot of it is poor man's Ric Flair style wrestling is what it is.
Well, to be honest, like the one match that I did get to watch was the very first one, the Sam Houston and Crusher match. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're good matches. It's not, and again, it's not choreographed fucking garbage that we get, and that's what we get. I enjoy watching the old. What were we watching last night? 1986 Halloween Havoc.
Was
it 1990?
Oh,
okay,
yes.
1990 Halloween Havoc. Before the WCW got really fucking big. I don't mind. I don't know what Eric Bischoff was thinking, because I'm going to say this now. If he wouldn't have changed what he done and kept everything the way it was, and probably incorporated a little bit of the NWO with the WCW that was going on, it might have worked. It might have worked. They might have succeeded a little better than what they did. But whatever. It's fine. I enjoyed the match again. Buddy Landel ended up going over with a fuck finish that we like to use, but it was justifiable. I think Bruce Pritchard talked about this match and said that that was a punishment for Terry Taylor because he was one of those guys in the back that thought he was the shit.
Right.
He was a complete dickhead. He's nothing like his character portrayed in the ring. Yes, he was a face, but nobody cared for the guy, I guess. So, what's the next match, Johnny? There's like 12 matches or 13 matches in this fucking thing. It's like a WrestleMania.
Next one is the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. Ollie Anderson and Arn Anderson versus Wahoo McDaniel and Billy Jack Haynes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Another fuck finish.
For the NWA National Tag Team Championship.
And this was before the Four Horsemen became the Four Horsemen, I think.
No, I think they were the Four Horsemen at that time.
No, because then Ric Flair would have been out there. And Tully Blanchard would have been on. I don't know. It might have been, but Ollie Anderson and Arn Anderson, Minnesota Wrecking Crew, a hell of a tag team. I loved Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson is probably one of he's one of those guys, and I don't know if he ever got a World Heavyweight title run at all, ever, but he is one of those guys that probably should have at least had a run with the title one time.
Right.
And had a good, long, consistent run, because he was so good. He could cut a promo. He could do it all. He was really good in the ring. And I know Johnny's probably seen Arn Anderson wrestle. Ole Anderson was he was a brawler. Arn Anderson was the enforcer, but Ole Anderson was the brawler of the group, of the Four Horsemen. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. The match, Wahoo McDaniel, he's fucking old in this one. I don't know how fucking old he was, but they were the champions. Both of them were champions, but it was for Arn and Ole's title. I do know that. Arn and Ole ended up winning this match as Ole, or was it Arn that held down Wahoo McDaniel's leg so he couldn't kick out?
It was Arn.
It was Arn Anderson that held his leg down? Okay.
No, Ole was on the outside. He was holding on the outside while Arn pending.
Ole's holding down his leg so that the ref can't see it, so that Wahoo McDaniel could not kick out. And again, it was back and forth. It was a great worked match because Billy Jack Haynes could work at the time. Why WWE didn't fucking sign... I don't know if WWE signed him or not, but...
Who? Ole?
Yeah.
I do not believe so.
Okay. No, not Ole. I'm talking about Billy Jack Haynes.
Oh, Billy Jack.
For some reason, I just never... I knew they were brothers, and I knew they meshed well together. It's just... I always preferred Arn by himself.
Mm.
I liked Arn Anderson in the tag team. I mean, it's different. He can do it all, though. I think, and that's why I think he should have had at least a nice long title run with the heavyweight title. He just never did.
Yeah.
He was a television champion. He was a very good television champion. He told great stories with that title because that title was defended every week. But Billy Jack Haynes, I'm talking about Billy Jack Haynes. I don't know if he was ever in WWF, because he's the kind of guy that fucking Vince just wants to masturbate over. The big, muscular, fucking strong guy, athletic motherfucker too. I don't know why he probably couldn't cut it on the microphone. I'm not sure, because I never really heard him talk. But Wahoo McDaniels and him were tag team champions. For what I don't remember, but Arn and Ole go over.
US titles.
Okay, Arn and Ole were the U.S. champions. So
they might with the national. Because these guys fit their titles.
Okay, go ahead,
guys. I hate to say this, but I think my computer needs to restart.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not a problem.
Jump out, jump back in.
Okay, I'll be back. I'm sorry.
That's fine. Trackster, pull up
I got the card, JP, if you need the next match till he gets back.
Well, I just want to get everybody's thoughts on this match before we move on. So go ahead. Give me your thoughts, Ronnie.
With this, like you said, it was the back and forth. Again, never liked Ole and Arn together, but with their style versus Wahoo and Billy Jack Haynes, they did have the grappling, they did have some of the technical stuff in there, but again, I preferred Arn by himself, and I know it was for the tag team match, tag team titles, and their cheating ways and finishes of how they used to hold on to the titles is what came into play at the end with it.
Right. No, I get it. I get it. And I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll move on to Trek. In these matches, you could distinctly tell who was the heel and who was the face.
Yep.
Even though they were still over, if you go back and watch these matches, even though Ric Flair was the heel, yes, people loved Ric Flair. But when he did something, people fucking booed. It's because the fans understood back then that this guy is portraying a fucking heel. By God, they were going to treat him like a heel. There's nothing wrong, and this is why I say there's nothing wrong with booing Becky Lynch and still liking her, because people loved Ric Flair. Just when he did something in the ring, they booed his ass. That's the only thought that I had. I just wanted everybody to understand where I'm coming from when I'm talking about Becky Lynch and why she should be booed. Trexter, what did you think of this match?
I thought that they did a really good job of making Wahoo McDaniel what nowadays should be the face in peril. They need to get that hot tag to Billy Jack Haynes. I thought they did a really good job. I always liked Arn Anderson when he was a Troy Blanchard try to brain buster, and that was my favorite time.
Yeah, that comes later though.
Mm-hmm.
They were a good tag team too. Bobby, what about you? You probably think this match was boring.
I fell asleep during it, Chief.
So did I, but I watched it again. What's the next match, Ronnie?
This one was the cage match. It was an I Quit match between Tully Blanchard, who was the champion, versus Magnum TA for the U.S. heavyweight title.
Before I even start, Bobby, what did you think of this match?
I don't know. I was still asleep through this match, and I haven't had time to go back and watch it yet.
Okay, so you fell asleep quarter of the way through the fucking show, or halfway through the show. If you liked you said you liked the Ron Bass match, Bobbit?
Yeah, it was a bloodbath.
You'll fucking love this match then. This is a cage match, I Quit match.
Yep.
It was in a steel cage, and Baby Doll was on the outside because she was the valet for Tully Blanchard.
Was she wife at the time?
Might have been, I don't know. Tully Blanchard was the U.S. champion. Magnum TA was. Some of the things that they did back then puts the fucking Attitude Era to fucking shame.
Oh, yeah.
They were literally hitting each other with a fucking hammer in this match. By the end of this match, Tully Blanchard was covered in blood.
Magnum TA
was covered in blood. The ring apron was, it was spots of blood, but where they were, it just looked like, and I'm talking even bigger than fucking Mick Foley and Terry Funk going at it in the middle of the fucking ring bloody. That's the kind of match this was. Tully Blanchard ends up hollering, I quit, and they played it so well. They made it, oh my God, it was so cringy because they put the microphone right up to Tully Blanchard when he was getting that hammer drove into his head. You know what I'm talking about? And he's sitting there and he's going, you quit. He's like, like just fucking screaming bloody fucking murder. It's great acting, even though, he was cut open a little bit, but, they really weren't doing the whole thing. There was a spot in the match where Tully Blanchard was trying to cut his fucking head off. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
This is a pretty vicious match, but I think with the microphone in the ring, that just really intensified everything.
Added to the intensity. The part I'm talking about, it's towards the end of the match, and it might have been with the hammer, but I'm not sure. Tully Blanchard was trying to bludgeon him. Remember? Magnum TA, towards the end, he's trying to bludgeon him. And Magnum TA kicks him and gets off him. It's just a fucking bloody match. It was great. The fighting in this match, Bob, go watch it. You might enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even use the steel chairs. It was a wooden chair. And just broke this wooden chair.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, he was trying to stab him in the throat with the fucking chair, the wooden leg. It's so bloody. Trust me, Ryan, we've got it here. It is really fucking cold up here. It's like below 30.
Yeah, I said in the chat on our way home from the doctor's appointment, it says 31 degrees outside and expect to go down even further.
Right.
You guys keep that cold weather. I'll take the 88 and just not complain.
Trek, what did you think of this match?
It's a really good match, and holy shit, Magna was over. Good lord.
So was Tully Blanchard, believe it or not.
Despite being the heel.
Both of them were over.
Yeah. Well, you even had Baby Doll on the outside of the ring just yelling and screaming for her man, and it was just added to it as well, because she was just yelling his name and screaming at him, and it just added more to, with the microphone in the ring, everything they used, the blood, the cage itself.
It added to the...
It was a total package of drama for the story.
Yes.
It added to it. It added to it, which I loved. The next match, Ronnie? Or Bobbit? Oh, you fell asleep. Never mind. No, what's the next match, Ronnie?
It was Jimmy Valiant and Atlanta Lively with Big Mama versus the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette for it was an Atlanta street fight.
You motherfucker! I'll fucking beat your ass! Motherfucker. So this match,
this was just comedy. This was just comedy to me, just seeing all this.
Well, the story is the person that was playing Miss Atlanta Lively was Ron Garvin.
Yeah, it was a dude,
and he was fired from
WWE.
No. He was fired from the NWA. I guess was the storyline. I have to go back and watch it. He had to stay. I think he had to stay. He wasn't allowed to be there, but he came back as Miss Atlanta Lively and wrestled all men. And Ron Garvin, this match I really couldn't get into. The comedy of the match it was funny. Cause watching Jimmy Valiant, even getting hit, this motherfucker dances around like he's at a fucking hopping fucking party. If you have never seen Jimmy Valiant, go watch him. It's really fucking funny. But they end up going over Jimmy Valiant and Miss Atlanta Lively, Ron Garvin. Who was the other one? Georgia? What was her name?
Big Mama.
Oh, Big Mama. Which she wasn't Big Mama. She was
a fucking toothpick.
She was a fucking toothpick. So, what did you think of this match, Ronnie?
Again, for me, this was comic relief. I liked Ron Garvin.
Me too.
From day one, we were at the Baltimore Arena, and he was the first actual wrestler that had a title change in Baltimore in like almost 40, 50 years. And I always liked him from that point on. But yeah, with this, it just was comical when they were stripping down Jim Cornette in the match at the end, and he's in there in his boxers with big hearts on them. And just him flailing around like he would do when everybody would gang up on him. But it was comic relief for me.
This is a Midnight Express, right? This was Beautiful Bobby and Stan Lane, or is this Beautiful Bobby and who was the other one?
I think it was Stan Lane.
If it was Stan Lane, Midnight Express is one of the great tag teams of all time. They were great wrestlers. They could tell a story inside the ring. They could do it all. They could do comic relief. The thing that I like is when Jim Cornette's up there, they let Jim Cornette talk. They let him introduce the Midnight Express, which Jim Cornette was a shit back then.
Oh, yes.
I loved Jim Cornette. He was so fucking funny. I wanted to kill him until because everybody wanted to fucking kill Jim Cornette for real. That motherfucker literally he put shit in his tennis racket because people would literally try to pick a fight with him.
In some cases, it was a horseshoe.
So he would hug Beautiful Bobby before each match, and it was like this kind of hug. It's just really funny watching him hug people. It was great. And then people would fucking boo, and he's like, "What's wrong with you people? I'm giving him advice. I'm wishing him luck." It's kind of funny. Or in Jim Cornette's, "What are you motherfuckers laughing at? I'm giving him a hug, and I'm wishing him luck, motherfuckers. Double cheese, extra mayo, double onion, motherfucker. No, I don't want the middle bun, you son of a bitch. It's a fucking Big Mac. It's fucking Wendy's, motherfucker." All right, so moving on.
Yeah, their matches with the Rock and Roll Express were always something to say, and I'm a big Rock and Roll Express fan.
Great, we'll get to the Rock and Roll Express here very shortly, I think. They're
actually next.
So this match and then the last match, right?
Yeah, Rock and Roll Express and then the Ric Flair Dusty Rhodes match. Yep.
All right, so now that we know it, it's Rock and Roll Express versus Ivan Koloff and Nikita Koloff. Again, This is America versus Russia.
Yep, this was for the NWA World Tag Titles, and it was also in a cage.
Yes, it was in a cage.
With seconds on the outside.
Yep. Essentially, look, Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff did all the work in this match. I love the Rock and Roll Express. You knew they were going over in this match with the way things were going. And if you don't know who the Rock and Roll Express are, it's Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson. It's Ricky Morton, you fucking kook. Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson were what are you doing? Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson were the Rock and Roll Express. This is a good match. I like the Rock and Roll Express. In fact, I'm not gonna lie to you. Rock and Roll Express was my favorite wrestling tag team. I always got them fucking Rockers and Rock and Roll Express confused.
You mean the Fabulous Freebirds?
No, the Rockers. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. Because I'm like, what the fuck? I thought they were on fucking WCW. You know, and it's like, that's not Shawn Michaels. I was confused, but I like the Rock and Roll Express. I like the Rockers too, and I think that's what confused me. But the Rock and Roll Express is some of the greatest work ever. But I'll give Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff. Again, guys, if you have not seen Starcade 85, go and watch it. You will enjoy it. It's Attitude Era before Attitude Era took place. Mm-hmm. Some of the matches were great inside of the ring. Yes, there was comic relief. There's a little bit of everything in this match. But it went in a cage match. And go ahead, Ronnie. Tell them how the finish happened, because I can't remember the finish. I know it was a roll up, but what happened?
Yeah, it was like a behind the referee style tag where they tagged and. I believe it was Ivan in the ring that got rolled up after Robert did his jump over, and Ricky at that point rolled up Ivan for the win, and then they started the attack because Robert Gibson was bloodied in this match.
Right.
They started attacking him, and then they had the other Koloff that was on the outside, I believe, that came in, and they threw Ricky over because he was trying to get out of the ring. They actually threw him over the cage, and he was bloodied at the end as well.
Well, I forgot to mention this, that Don Kernodle and Crusher Khrushchev were on the outside.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Nikita Koloff. Nikita Koloff, I think, is the younger. Yes, they did. They beat down Gibson with the chain, and that was after the match was over. They beat the living shit out of fucking Robert Gibson inside the ring after the match. Ricky Morton decided to climb. For some reason, he climbed out of the ring and left his partner in there to get his ass beat.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand why he did that, because I don't know if he couldn't get out the gate because they were blocking the gate before they got in there, but the way that they pushed him over, he was like at the top, like dangling, like hanging, and then when they pushed him, he went over, and then of course that's when they took advantage of Robert, and getting him beat up.
I think it was because Khrushchev on the outside attacked Kernodle.
Yeah, he attacked Kernodle. Oh my God, he attacked Kernodle on the outside of the ring, and
so Ricky went to help.
Ricky went to help him, and Crusher Khrushchev beat the shit out of fucking Ricky Martin. Living La Vida Loca. Don't look. So anyway, Bobbit or Tar Heel, what did you think of this match?
It was okay.
Okay. So, and then really the only match that really had any storyline behind it, and what they did back then, that's how they did things. The storyline was Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. Now, the year prior to this, they wrestled at Starcade 84, and if Starcade is essentially WCW's or NWA's version of WrestleMania. They just don't do it at the same time. So this is their longest running pay-per-view, I think, for WCW, because it started in 84 and ran all the way up until the end.
Well, it was their WrestleMania, basically.
That's what I just said. So, Ricky Morton, you know, and now I'm still on Ricky Morton. God damn it. Fuck, I got Ricky Martin living La Vida Loca on the brain. So anyway, Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes come together. The previous year, Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair had wrestled for the World Heavyweight title, also with $1 million on the line. And Ric Flair ended up winning. Well, the entire storyline is that the struggle for Dusty Rhodes to get back to the fucking match and essentially climbing that mountain. This match, again, is classic Ric Flair, classic Dusty Rhodes. I don't even know if I have to review this match. I enjoyed this match. If you didn't enjoy this match, it's a wrestling match. It's like half-hour long match. Yes, no, maybe.
I think so.
Something like that. Good match. I
sold the fact that Dusty had broken his foot.
Yep, Dusty had apparently broken his foot, and that was the storyline throughout the match inside the ring. Also, they did mention that he had hurt his foot was hurting him, and because he'd just coming back off a broken foot, and now he's back, and now he's. I hate that fucking Tar Heel looking at me. It's like fucking creeping me the fuck out. So, but again, great storytelling and back and forth. No man, and Ric Flair doing his usual Ric Flair shit. Like, he punches Dusty Rhodes, and Ric Flair, all of a sudden, Dusty Rhodes gives him that look, and Ric Flair's doing the, no, I don't want to fight you anymore. You know, that whole thing that he always used to do, back up into the corner and shit.
Trying to call a timeout.
Essentially call a timeout, and then he does his heel move where he kicks him, and then they start fighting again. And, you know, the rest moves, there were rest moves in there, but they didn't focus on the rest moves. There was no focus on the rest moves. They were actually telling a story inside of the ring. And I enjoyed this match. Dusty Rhodes finally goes over Ric Flair, Starcade 85. If I remember right, doesn't he just roll him up or pin it? How does he finish? How does the match finish?
I think it was the roll-up finish.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed this match. Heather, what did you think of this match?
I was usually asleep by this time.
That's true. You fall asleep even though we watched it together already about 20 times. Ronnie, what do you think of this match?
I enjoyed this match. It was a long match. It was, I believe it was the longest match on the card, and even with how the storyline progressed with these two, they always in the ring, to me, they always showed each other the respect in the ring. They also told the story. They also were playing off of each other in the ring. Even in the very beginning, I mean, Dusty Rhodes was doing the walk and the styling and the profile and just trying to get under his skin. And they always complimented each other on any of the moves that they did or any of the move sets that they did and worked together. And they just, anytime they were in the ring, I always thought that they did, their matches were just, to me, were always spot on. Yeah. And I always enjoyed watching both of them together.
I agree. Yeah, it's one of those things. Those are some. I love watching Ric Flair back in the day. I try to find. Ask Heather. I try to find Ric Flair matches to watch. Ric Flair is essentially my favorite wrestler, not named Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love Ric Flair. Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage are probably, and Stone Cold Steve Austin are my 1, 2, 3. If I was to pick, I don't have favorite wrestlers anymore because essentially if I pick a favorite wrestler, I'm essentially wanting that person to win every single time. I'm to the point where I'm old enough to where I don't have to have a favorite and I can just sit back and enjoy the show, or try to, and tell everybody straight up honest with you, Becky Lynch sucks. Or Roman Reigns sucks inside the ring. Or, I'm not saying, calm down, Tar Heel, for fuck's sake. Or telling you that Seth Rollins doesn't deserve shit. You know, I'm just speaking facetiously. So I don't have a favorite wrestler. Back then I did. I was younger. I could enjoy. There's nothing wrong with having a favorite wrestler, but if you're gonna do what I do, you essentially can't have a favorite wrestler. Not for me anymore. Now Heather has.
But even back then, you had the singles wrestlers that were single wrestlers. You had tag teams. They were tag teams.
No.
You never or rarely saw them fight separately.
This is why the tag team division today is such shit, because they have a bunch of singles wrestlers and fucking tag teams. Now, I will say this, probably the only tag team that's really any deserving of being in a tag team is the Usos, the Bludgeon Brothers, the who are tag teams? I don't pay attention to the tag team.
I think Cesaro and Sheamus have come into their own. They didn't in the beginning, I didn't think, because they were kind of thrown together, but I think now they do. Who? I think they are cohesive, but yeah, they could go singly.
Who? I'm sorry.
Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yes, they've been together long enough to where they could be a tag team.
Yeah.
I just am I wrong in saying that though?
You're dead wrong.
I'm dead wrong about saying that all the tag team division is in WWE is a bunch of singles wrestlers.
I don't know. I'm just talking shit.
Well, no, and Johnny's back. I'm asking, what are your thoughts on it?
I do agree with the sentiment. I mean, the tag team division is just not what it once was.
Right.
I will agree that the Usos, Bludgeon Brothers,
Revival,
Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
I forgot to mention them.
Ascension.
There's another one. Agreed. Sanity, depending on who they have.
AOP
is they're never going to be singles. They're never going to get a singles run. I'd rather keep them as tag team. But knowing Vince, he's probably going to break Akam and Razor up because he fucking loves whichever one's the bigger one. He's probably drooling all over him. So essentially, I mean, Trexter, what do you think of the Ric Flair Dusty Rhodes match?
I thought it was, one of the best matches I've ever seen. This is something. Tar Heels distracted me. Sorry. Yeah, I thought it was something that they should show the younger wrestlers to show them how you have chemistry with one another and you can put on a very good match and put out a very good storyline as well.
And the storytelling inside the ring. It wasn't just outside the ring and cutting promos. Because them two, back in the day, and even though Ric Flair wasn't the greatest promo cutter, he could still cut a pretty good promo. Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, the second most recognizable athlete in the world, second only to Muhammad Ali. So, and I'm picking these up from Bruce Pritchard, by the way. You guys need to watch his shit. He's so great. But, yeah, I mean, who here thinks that Dusty Rhodes sucked as a promo?
I thought he always did great, but the other thing is too, there was also behind the scenes heat too with a lot of these guys where they didn't like each other, and that kind of blended into the storylines too, or they didn't get along.
Do you want to know why Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes had a great rivalry? Because they got along. And when the fourth wall was broken, when
with the click
when they did their curtain call, okay, did it really ruin wrestling, or did people did wrestling, or did people allow it to ruin wrestling?
People allowed it because they sat there or always thought that the bad guy should never be with the good guy.
And here's my thing, and this is what's funny to me. I can depict between, back then I couldn't, but by the time that what happened with the click happened, I was old enough to realize that these guys, they see each other every day. How in the fuck did they not get along?
Exactly. And how do friendships not form when you're with them more than your own family?
Exactly. So if people and fans let it ruin, because I'm going to sit here and tell you right fucking now, there are probably people out there that literally think Becky Lynch and Charlotte hate each other. And they're dumb. Those are the stupid asses that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So yeah, I mean,
a bunch of D-to-Ds.
Yes, a bunch of D-to-Ds. I'm not going to lie to you. So the reason that I wanted to do this Starcade 85 along with WrestleMania 12, and we're going to move on to our next series. But the reason that I wanted to, This is wrestling. This is what wrestling was before what we're getting now. If anything, WWE needs to go back to their roots and kind of do this kind of stuff and integrate promos into what they are doing. It would probably make the product just a little bit better than what it is. Let these guys tell a story inside of the fucking ring. You don't need to choreograph every fucking move, because not every move in this match was choreographed.
Well, and the other thing too, I mean, I'm going back from what I remember from back then, is that every fight that you had was like a big fight feel. I mean, they treated these guys almost like boxers.
Yes,
absolutely.
You didn't get that.
These promos that would take place in the back, and they cut like these fire promos.
Yes.
And you know, you didn't have this outside of the ring stuff. That's what I really miss, is the backstage segment.
Yeah, I do. Me too. I mean, we still get the backstage segments, but they're
not what they used to be.
They're not what they used to be. And the backstage segments that Johnny is talking about. If you have the WWE Network, which almost everybody does, go back and watch a World Championship Wrestling, just a regular show. When Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen come out there, they don't wrestle. You never see Ric Flair wrestle unless it was something big.
Mm-hmm.
Something big was going on, like a Clash of the Champions type deal. Watch those. Those were some good matches. Probably one of the best matches that I had ever seen was Sting and Ric Flair at a what was it? Was it a Clash of Champions or was it a Night of Champions? It was a Clash of Champions. And it was Ric Flair versus Sting for the NWA World Heavyweight title. That match ended in a draw. But the story that was being told in that match was so good because of the promos that were cut by these guys. They never met up. They never got in the ring. There was no run-ins. There was none of this bullshit that we get today. You know,
you know what the one thing that they really need to bring back, and they still kind of do it, but they don't really do it anymore.
Right.
And it goes with what I'm talking about, like what they did with Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. What's the one thing that you never see anymore, or that when they do it, it's not as good as what we remember it to be?
The only thing that I can think of is that they don't just let the guy cut the promo. The one thing that I could take from it is somebody's there to interview them, not like the interviewers we got.
I can do it in one phrase.
Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
That's true.
You don't have that anymore.
Oh, the screaming at the camera.
Yeah.
That's true. And you look at Ric Flair, essentially, that's the kind of promo that he cuts.
All the time.
All the time. You don't see, I mean, you see Triple H do it. I guarantee you Roman Reigns probably would have been able to cut a really good promo if they just let the motherfucker talk. And if he wanted to fucking scream, let him fucking scream. But there's also those promos where they were screaming, like Jake the Snake Roberts. He wasn't screaming, he was talking in that low-toned voice, but he had that, you know what I'm going to do to you? I'm going to take the snake, I'm going to shove it right up your ass, and I'm going to make you squeal like a pig, boy. You know, that's the way he talked. But he talked to you like he was... And he got in the face of the fucking camera and was fucking yelling at the fucking... He was telling the fans what he was going to fucking do to you. Mm-hmm. And like Johnny said, we don't get that anymore. And I wish we did. They're essentially cutting a promo. They're going out there and, hi, my name is Roman Reigns and I am a good wrestler. You are my bitch. Mic drop. How is that a mic drop? You are my bitch, mic drop. Tar Heel is cutting a better promo than Roman Reigns is right now. I'm just saying.
Well, the good thing.
Yes, you are correct, Connor. Thank you for being here, Connor, Mr. OK Fade. I appreciate you popping in. Trying to love these old style wrestling matches. We might go back to, in fact, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna unless you guys want to talk, Ronnie, do you have anything to add on to what me and Johnny were talking about with the promo cutting abilities and stuff?
Just with Ric Flair, I mean, he had not only, he would come out and say exactly what was on his mind and exactly what he was going to do, but he had the nice attire, he had the girls with him, he had the Four Horsemen with him at times. He had that total package. He had the look, he had the mic skills, he had the wrestling skills, and everything that he did and anything he touched turned to gold, basically.
Yep. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Dusty Rhodes. Anything he said, you believed.
Well, here's the one thing that I think a lot of people don't really realize and they tend to forget. If the character is good enough and done right, that character transcends eras. Look at Ric Flair. Transcend was relevant in every era of wrestling that there was. Undertaker,
still is today.
Relevant in every era of wrestling that he was in.
Yep. And here's the thing about Undertaker, though. He wasn't... I wouldn't say he's a great promo guy, because he didn't have to say much. But yes, he did transcend. Because that rest in peace, the way he says rest in peace, is all he needs to fucking really do.
And he had Paul Bearer there for most of his career.
That's true. He had Paul Bearer be his mouthpiece.
And Dude Love.
And Dude Love? I don't remember.
When he debuted, Bruce Pritchard was with him.
Oh, Brother Love. That's...
Yeah.
So, yeah. I agree with Johnny 100%. Stone Cold Steve Austin, same thing. Transcends every era. People don't like him, but Hulk Hogan transcends every era. Cuts a great fucking... The Rock. I mean, there's a very select few that transcend. Those are your Hall of Famers, everybody. Those that made wrestling what it is today. Today, to me, the Hall of Fame, yes, a lot of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but they're just giving away a Hall of Fame fucking inductions like they're fucking candy now. And Jeff Jarrett, I could do without him being in the Hall of Fame, to be honest with you. I could.
A lot of people could.
I just... Gilbert, I could do without... I'm going to say this.
Put him in as a toxic turtle.
I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to give Gilbert credit where credit is due. I listened to Bruce Pritchard, episode 65 today. I'm starting to lean towards Gilbert for the Hall of Fame, and here's why. Here is why. If you go out to a fucking ring, if you go out to the fucking ring in a turtle outfit
from Party
City, roll around on your fucking back and wait for somebody to push you over so you can fucking start wrestling again, you deserve to be in the Hall of fucking Fame. Just for that one thing alone. Because go listen to episode 65. It's episode 65 of Bruce Pritchard. He talks about Dwayne Gill, who's Gilbert, and tells that story about what he did.
As the Toxic Turtle.
As the Toxic Turtles. Also, this motherfucker was a genius. This motherfucker is a genius. He'd go out in his regular outfit. Go back, change, and come out as a Toxic Turtle. He got double pay. Yes, Bobbit. Gilbert for the Hall of Fame.
Did hell officially freeze over?
No, after what I heard Bruce Pritchard say, I cannot say.
Officially going to hell.
It is. But you have to listen to what he says. If you go out to a ring, get knocked down, end up on your back in a turtle suit, and sit there and kick your legs like a turtle, trying to roll over to his front side to run away, you deserve to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. Just for that alone. Go listen to the story. It's funny. So, yeah. That being said, anybody got anything they want to add before I give the reveal on what we're doing for our next series?
Ruby!
No, I think that was Drew.
It is Drew?
Yes, it is. It's Drew. Because Ruby would not put
that combination
together if you're looking at it.
Yeah, her favorite emoji is the poop emoji,
yes.
And that's not in there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Sup, Drew? All right. So if nobody has anything, here's what our next series is going to be, and we're going to kick off with this. It is going to be feuds. Johnny, what feud would you like to start off with?
I say let's do one that we talked about tonight. Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes.
You want to do that one? I was thinking something else, but we can.
What do you got? Well, what do you got? I might like it better.
So I'm going to go around the panel and see what they think, and I'll tell you what I think at the end. Trexter, what do you think?
I'd go with Edge versus Matt Hardy.
Yep, I'm never doing that one.
No.
Well, yeah, I will, because it's a real life feud, and you'll see me flip my fucking shit on that. It'll be a quick 15-minute fucking show. I'll tell you that. Ronnie, what about you?
I'd like to do Benoit and Kevin Sullivan.
Okay, that's a real life feud.
I know. That's kind of why I want to do it.
Okay, Bobbit, what about you?
Cena versus Orton.
That's a good one. Heather?
Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff.
I would like to start, and the reason why I'm just hear me out, why I would like to start off with this one, they're all really good ones, is Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon.
I'm sold. Let's do it.
And here's why. Because it's one of the best feuds ever.
Everybody, even a casual.
And Ronnie, we will get into that feud. Trust me, we're going to do all of them. We're going to do as many feuds as we can. If we can continue to do feuds, we're going to continue to do feuds. I really love Bobbit's. I almost went with Bobbit's, the Randy Orton versus John Cena. Everybody shits on John Cena. I'm telling you, that feud between Randy Orton and John Cena, holy shit, is probably in the top 5 feuds of all time because of what them two did. There's another guy. He's going to transcend wrestling. I bet that guy's going to be around for a very long fucking time, too. Both of them guys. I love Johnny's. Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. I'd love to do that one. Which one did you have, Trek?
Matt and Jeff Hardy. Matt and Edge.
Yeah, that's going to be a quick 15-minute show. But we'll do it.
Another one. Ric Flair and Sting.
Of course, that's going to be right in there. Look, so what we'll do next week, we'll do Edge and Cena. We're going to do them all, man.
Owen Hart and Bret Hart.
Owen Hart and Bret Hart, even though the feud didn't last very long.
It was still a very intense
We'll do them all. We'll do them all. Even if they are very short ones and they were one of those feuds, Stone Cold fucking Owen Hart, we'll do those. We'll do that. We'll do them. We'll do them all. Fuck it. I don't care. Just have to find them and...
Do it. Fucking do it. We'll do it.
We'll do it. So next week we're going to start off with Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. The beginning of the going over the boss feud, I call it. Treating your boss like shit feud. That's what I call it. Because everybody wanted to punch their fucking boss. Well, Stone Cold gave us that every fucking Monday night. And then we'll go from there, and we'll set up a thing. We'll probably... I'll find a list and just throw a list together, and we'll go from there. How does that sound to everybody?
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
And we'll do John Cena Triple H was a good feud. We'll do that feud too. Like I said, we'll get into all of them. We'll get into all of them. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. If any of you guys have any feuds that you want us to do, please DM any one of us, and then we'll get together and we'll talk about it. And if it's something that's not on WWE or WCW, we'll look into it. I might even do a New Japan Pro Wrestling feud. Okada, Omega. I will do that feud. I will do that feud. I have to go back and watch some of their fucking matches, though. Because, again, it's not about the promo cutting. But their feud and their rivalry is one of those feuds and rivalries. But we'll do them all. I promise. We'll do whatever. Just like if you want one, you think of one, DM us. We will do it. We will try to do it. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So that being said, don't forget next week, Wrestling Memories number 40. The very first feud we're gonna do, Austin McMahon. Looking forward to it, guys. And there is a thing on WWE Network that I'll be referencing and I'll be watching because they talk about it. I've seen it already, but they'll talk about the feud. And just read up on it if you want to. So it's there. The network is there. I use it as a resource a lot. Watch the matches. All that good stuff. But that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I got to make dinner. I'm making food for Heather tonight again. Because I'm that kind of guy. That being said, and if Heather goes into labor tonight, I'll let everybody know. And I get to record it too. I'm so excited.
Are you doing Reasoning tonight?
I'm not. I'm going to reschedule it for next week. It's been a day.
All right. Well then, everybody, Twitch Army, head on over to Twitch. We'll be going live there in a little bit.
All right. Well, that being said, guys, you have a great night. I will talk to you guys in the DMs. We're not going to have wrestling this week in wrestling. It'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm getting my grandson tomorrow, so I won't be doing the show Friday. But maybe Saturday we'll have a show, and we'll put Zane on there, and so y'all can say hi to Zane. But that being said, you guys, don't look! Don't look! You guys have a great night.